Welcome to the Beyond the Numbers podcast. Before we dive into this episode, we want to share an important disclaimer regarding the content of our discussions.
Hello and welcome to a new Live Smart podcast. This is one of the staff ones, and we've got Sinchita on, and she's going to tell us about what inspired her to come into financial services. And she's going to walk us through a typical day and a typical role in what she does for Live Smart. So, starting with what inspired you, Sinchita, when you first spoke to us to come into financial services, and what was your
Well,
journey up to that point?
I already had completed my certified financial planning when I was in college, actually. So that was when I was doing my bachelor's. And I always thought that I was going to get into finance, like financial services or in the financial sector in general. And because I had a degree already, a certificate, I was kind of hoping that it would be helpful in some way to get me into the industry. Then I came to the UK for my MBA, and that's when I realized if you wanted to get into finance, you were supposed to have a certificate from the United Kingdom itself to actually get into the industry here. And then that's when it came to my mind that I've already got something that's almost global. I could probably use that. So I've got a bit of an advantage, you could say. And I had always wanted to be in finance, and then I was just on LinkedIn trying to, get a break, get some kind of an opening somewhere, just looking for things I could do with whatever I had at that point. So just an MBA, nothing from, the UK itself. And thankfully, I came across some wonderful people on LinkedIn who were seniors in our sector, and they were willing to help kind of the new entrants and people who are trying to get in the industry. And that's when I found out about you, obviously, and then we spoke. And when I saw you in person, I was like, wow. And then I heard about Liz Martin. I was like, wow, yeah, I actually see myself working there and being happy and not getting sucked into the rabbit hole of, the corporate 9 to 5 and being sad and gloomy about it. It actually sounded like a place I would want to be in, want to be a part of. It was
It's
really
You've
nice.
actually always said that, haven't you? In fairness, like from the minute we first spoke, like your priorities when you were looking were probably you weren't really looking like you get a lot of people looking for jobs, don't you? And when they're looking for a job, they have different values. And I think one of my first comments when I got back after speaking to you, when I spoke to Tash first and I fed back, and I think I was quite surprised on some of your values, actually, what you valued versus some people I've spoken to your age. Because a lot of people think of it from job, money, I want this, I want that in life, where you weren't really coming at it from that direction. We don't, we never really asked you why.
Um, I think it has something to do with the fact that you spend most of your life working. So
Hmm.
that's the major chunk of your life. So when you are just a kid, you go to school, you learn stuff, and then immediately after that, you start working, and then you're literally working until the time you maybe lose some of your mind. You're just old, and you're like, no, I cannot do this anymore. So you're working for the major part of your life, and I wanted to do that in some place that I actually liked, so I would wake up in the morning and I'd actually want to be there and not be like, oh, I have to go to work. Oh, I have to do this. I never really wanted that. So I wanted something to look forward to in my life and not be like in a dead end, I guess.
I mean,
Maybe that's it.
I think as well, the timing for you coming doing what you do, I would say you've walked straight into sort of like a relentlessness that is sometimes there and sometimes it's not. It depends what the business stage is. And I can remember even in the interview, I hinted that it was going to be a little bit relentless because we're in like a bit of a growth spell. Have you found it as relentless as I put across to you, or from your perspective, is it actually being quite paced?
Um, to be honest, it was so when I started, I was obviously getting trained in different things, and then
Mm,
I think it was kind of the moment of change when I just came in. It was actually systems were changing and the stuff, everything, yeah,
everything. Yeah,
yeah, everything,
a
and
lot of
I
it.
kind of felt that because I was being trained, and then within the few weeks of like the next couple of weeks, maybe the system's different and the things that I was doing are no more valid because it's changed. And I was like, it's good to know where it's all coming from, to kind of see the background and why the things are changing because the previous things were not working. So the
Mm.
LOA systems, you just got better uh, and easier to track and stuff. So I was actually happy about the changes that was happening.
You know what? I think that's a point to touch on because you look at how long have you worked for us now? Is it approaching what?
Six, 6.5, 7. That was,
Months?
yeah, 6.5 months. Yeah.
I mean, put that into context. In 6 months, how much has technology changed from your first day to now? And it just makes you realize how fast technology is changing
Yeah.
financial services. I know we probably it caught a moment when we were adopting quite a lot of new technology, but it's mind-boggling, really, isn't it, when you think of it?
It's a lot, yes.
I mean, that gives it you saying that actually gives it perspective because I don't know if I noticed because I'm like in it a bit and I'm not dealing with as much back office stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I think you realise why why people in our industry end up working a lot of hours and why also it's quite a busy job. You can sort of the patterns there, isn't it? It's change. Like, there's a lot of change and a lot of well, you know how you've evolved.
Well, yeah, it's been good. And I've also kind of helped Kaylee to set up stuff like she would set up workflows and I'd be like, well, this step here, it's not working. Can we have maybe this and this together? Maybe move this one up and move this one down. So I kind of helped with the structuring as well. And I think it's important that you have someone who is actually working on that workflow to actually speak about it with the person who's setting it up, because the person who's setting it up is not always the person who's working on it.
Just
And
just because obviously there'll be some people that might watch this who are either thinking of coming into and starting out in financial services or coming into administration or coming into power planning, maybe even with the view to being a financial planner, maybe just wanting to be a career power planner or administrator. With that in mind, what would you say is your experience versus your perspective before you'd done it?
for Live Smart as a firm or just in general?
I think in general, as a general, I'm just thinking, you know,
Well,
for the people who are thinking about it now, like imagine you were that person. How do you find it versus what you thought it would be?
well, I was certainly not expecting to get work from home. I was kind of expecting it to be like full-time office or a hybrid office role. I never imagined it would be fully work from home, work remotely, because
Mm,
I hadn't seen many business models that work like that. And
mm,
well, it is possible in today's world, but not many people are kind of accepting or maybe working on it. So that's something that was very different from what I had imagined than what I'm doing right now. Also, I kind of expected for me to be an admin and as a first time worker in this sector. Maybe I expected things to be harder to understand or decipher and have a bit of a less support system to be I don't know, not support system exactly. It's like me coming from India, the system over there is different than
mm,
to what it is here. So what I've grown up seeing in finance and learning and hearing about it is quite different than what actually it's here. And so I had expected that it would be difficult for me to understand what's going on. Well, at first it was for a month, and then I got the hang of it. So, and with the support system that you guys have, it's amazing. Kaylee's always been so supportive. Even Tasha has been always so supportive. You've got any questions, come to me with the questions. Doesn't matter. No question is as stupid as you think it is. Just ask it and we'll answer. And I think that has really been helpful. I'm not sure how many firms actually do that. I haven't worked anywhere else, but that is something that someone who is coming into a career, whether it's from a different career, it's a career change, first time worker, whatever it is, I think that kind of support is really important for you to not lose your mind getting into the job and be like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Do I even belong here?
And I think more important, maybe if you're working from home, because if you've not got that regular contact, not everybody could do it. There is big, massive upsides, but you have to become a certain kind of personality to work
Yeah.
from home week in, week out. You have to have some interaction to break it up. And I think maybe even some variety slotted in, which I think maybe we've still got to improve at.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got the Monday meetings and they're kind of fine, unless we've got too much stuff to do and we kind of skip it. We're like, no, 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 not this
It always
Monday.
feels possibly like we've got too much to do to have a meeting. I mean,
Yeah,
it's back to relentless again, isn't it?
yeah.
Um, what what has been your sort of take on, because obviously you're working remotely, it's a bit like you're in an office at times, but virtually. How have you found the different personalities in, say, our business? Because obviously there is a lot of quite very different personality traits through the business, and the difference obviously between back office and client facing is quite a different skill set. Have you got any observations from any of that, good
It's
or
a
bad?
really positive, it's a really positive office space. It's so things like we don't let anyone be sad or be negative here. We're kind of all trying to cheer each other up, and just over Christmas, I it was unexpected, but Kaylee sent me a present, and it was really cute, and it was a Taylor Swift coffee mug, which was amazing. I was like, I've only been here, what, 3 months, and she already knows I love Taylor Swift. And she's so sweet. And she just sent me a message. She was like, I just thought it would be nice because we've all been through a lot this year. I thought it would just be nice to have a cute little present for you. And just let me know how you like it.
Notice you've not mentioned any presents from me because I'm awful at buying presents.
No, that's not true. You took me out for lunch after graduation, and I wasn't even hired, like formally at that time. So even that counts. Like that just speaks of the kind of people that work in the firm, what kind of people they are. It's also inclusive and being like almost bonded together like a family. It really feels very nice, very warm, and very welcoming. To be honest, I
Yeah,
enjoy
well, I
it.
mean, there's probably no higher compliment, really, is there, in that respect? Because it's not, it's probably the hardest thing to create because obviously there's so much focus around serving clients and clients first. And, I mean, I don't even always have time for myself. So it's hard to then create time to think about your staff at times. It's a sad side effect of just being busy all the time.
Yeah, but I think we all really kind of take turns to think about things to do together, or maybe just how to take care of each other. And even if one person's busy, I think the other person just steps in and kind of bees there for the rest of them. I think that's something to look forward to every day. Yeah.
Based on sort of you what was thinking of this in line with your sort of what your desired career path is, how have you found administration as then a lead into potentially paraplanning? Have you seen it as it's essential to do administration first, Or could you have almost thought, you know what, I could skip that, I could jump straight into paraplanning and get trained on that? If you could pick, which route would you go? Now you've done it.
Well, I've only done it for 6 months, and I think, yes, I've got good experience. And I think it's always better to start at the bottom and try to work your way up, because then you know how it goes in the background. So you're just not throwing stuff to the people in the admin, just be like, hey, go take care of that. And then you're just getting mad. Why is it not happening? But now I actually know why it's not happening, because the provider's taking too long,
Mhm.
or something else is not in place, some minor detail is missing, and that's why it's not working. And so maybe, just for example, if I would have gone straight into paraplanning, and then I would have been waiting for an LOA information to come for weeks, and it was not there, and then I suddenly get an email saying, well, I don't know, the date of birth is wrong. I'd probably be like, well, why did it take that long to figure that the date of birth is wrong? Because,
And I think you see a lot of businesses, and I've always had a major issue with this. Having, when I started out in the industry, I did client and I did my own admin and at times my own power planning. And I think if you've come from that background, you've got more sympathy for the problems that exist in
yeah.
admin and power planning and all of it collectively.
Hmm.
I think you've got more ability to adapt systems to then benefit the client facing part compared to if you'd not done it. And I see a lot of businesses where the people just could go straight into advice and they've got no understanding of the support staff.
Yeah.
And instead of it being like a team, it's quite toxic.
Hmm. It kind of gives you an idea. So if, for example, if now I'm going into uh, an advisor meeting with you, suppose, on the side, I'd be like, you're missing, maybe you're missing this. Hey, Julian, would you mind taking that? And that way you know that, okay, this is a detail that the admin would need in order to get this particular case across the line. Or if, even if I am a trainee advisor and I'm trying to go to new client meetings just by myself, I would actually know the things to look out for, the minute details that might be missing, and I'd have a completely different approach to the meeting, maybe.
Obviously, you spent a day with me seeing
Yeah,
clients.
it was lovely. I enjoyed it so much.
I mean, that was actually an insane day
I know.
because it was just one of those days where I had, as you know, I had things going wrong in between every appointment that related to a property I was buying. And I was quite stressed for me, which I don't normally get stressed really. Um,
Oh, was that you being stressed? It didn't look like.
yeah, that's me relatively stressed. I would say frustrated.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I was just sat in the car like,
I mean, we didn't even get loads of time to talk, did we? Because it was literally
yeah,
appointment, phone started, or I had to make phone calls because I was trying to sort that out, or clients were ringing me or whatever. How did you how did you find the chaos of that day versus say what you've done for 6 months? Did you think, you know what, I'm almost glad I do administration and I don't want to see clients ever in my life? Or did it
no,
start to make you think, actually, I could
yeah.
see myself doing this a bit?
Yeah, it was the other one. Yeah, definitely the other one. Because um, I think it was really nice for me to go outside the office, outside, get away from my desk and actually see what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and kind of meet, have faces to the names that I've been working on, and kind of getting
It
to
was
know them.
quite a complicated day as well. It wasn't a straightforward,
Yeah.
easy appointment day. They were quite complex things with things cropping up and quite a few questions. And so it wasn't the easiest day to absorb.
I did enjoy it actually. It's something that I can see myself maybe wanting to do. So yeah.
It's quite a long day though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit long, yeah. I think it was because the locations are different and we had to drive around a bit. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it was a full-on face-to-face day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With bits in the middle.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say, based on sort of your role, what would you say what do you find challenging in your role? I mean, obviously, there's always going to be challenges, but what is it specifically that you find challenging?
LOAs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think many people would say otherwise.
Yeah, I think LOAs, they're just, I don't know, they're just lengthy and they just drag along. And well, some providers are really, really nice. They just reply within 2, 3 days, maybe 5 days, like a week max. And then you can actually move forward with it. But then some of them are just dragging on for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And you almost, if I did not have a task tracking, software, I would almost be forgetting half the LOS that I do.
Yeah, well,
It's too
they go
much.
on so over months, don't they? Sometimes, so
Yeah.
it's obviously the way because again we're sort of fairly busy. I mean, how many LOAs are you managing at any one time, really? They
Yeah.
can build up, can't they?
hmm What I've now started to do is, at first I did not have this idea. I should have started this a long time ago. What now do is I do LOAs on Fridays, so I keep the Fridays aside, and I'm like, put all the LOAs on one day, sit with my phone, and just go through them and be calling up providers and be like, excuse me, I put this request in. Where is my information? And that way you can actually go through. You can have 2, 3 clients for one provider, and you're not having to wait that long on the queue as well, because
Yeah, it's more
you've got,
efficient.
yeah, it's more efficient. You've got all the details for all the clients, and when they ask you, is there anything else I can help you with, you just go, yeah, there's one more client, can you please look? And it's kind of
Mm.
good. I'm glad I figured that out.
What what from getting up in the morning? What do you find it easy to motivate yourself? Obviously, working from home, and or do you
Yeah.
literally just spring out of bed on it?
So I've tried it both ways. For a few weeks there, what I did was I used to get up in the morning, go to the gym, come back, have breakfast, and then work. So there were times that I was waking up at 5 in the morning and doing all of that. And
Hmm.
then recently, what I've started to do is I think it's because of the weather, because I think I have seasonal depression. When the winter kicks in and darkness sets in, I'm just so sad. Oh my God, for no reason at all.
I think it's the same for a lot of people. It's hard. Like English winters seem long, don't they? They seem well, they are. They're a few months, and it
Yeah.
does seem like you're not getting any daylight at times.
Yes, I know, right? So I was doing that, and then I just switched it off. I was like, this is too cold and too dark for me. I cannot do this anymore. So then what I started doing was I just used to get up, freshen up, and then just sit at my desk and work, and then go to the gym in the evening. So that way I knew that I was getting my work done, and I didn't have to wake up in the morning and sit in the darkness for the longer half of the time. So
Hmm.
that's what I did. And I think it kind of depends on the weather. For me, the weather, the season, the daylight. So right now I'm thinking of, the clocks are gonna turn back. So I'm thinking I'll just go for a jog or a run in the morning or a walk and then have my breakfast. So it's kind of kicking back in the motivation to get up in the morning and get stuff done before I start working. So that's coming back kind of, and I think it has majorly to do with it.
I think even just from the point of view of, and as you know, I've mentioned things to you like going for a walk. You're right. You know, you're on the doorstep of the Yorkshire Dales, some beautiful countryside, and obviously it's a lot easier to do when your days are longer, isn't it? Otherwise, you think,
Yeah.
well, finish work, it's dark.
Yeah.
Well, you could actually go for a couple of hours and do a 2 or 3 mile hike.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's not hard nowadays, is it? With all the mapping availability and the routes that
Mm,
are pre-done, and you're in the right place, aren't you?
yeah. I'll maybe even start working earlier and so that I can just finish off earlier and have a longer daylight period in the evening just to do stuff that I like, maybe sit in the garden, read or something.
What do you think in terms of as you start to look maybe go towards power planning a little bit, even if it's gradual? Do you see anything within power planning, in terms of knowledge and some of the technical stuff. Does any of that frighten you, or do you think at the minute it's just something you're almost looking forward to?
I am actually, yes, looking forward to it because I think I've done the fair share of admin to not be afraid or scared of what's going to come next.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would be looking forward to paraplanning, and I think with the kind of support and training that we have at Live Smart, shouldn't be too difficult for me to, get started and get in and uh, get the hang of it. I think it's something I'm looking forward to, yeah. But before
And
that, I think I need to sit for the exams as well.
yeah, I mean, it's not
I could,
necessarily compulsory, but it's like one of those things where it probably prepares you for some of the technical stuff,
yeah,
whilst you're doing maybe some of the more basic
yeah,
transactional things.
yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you've got different people you can learn off as well. You've got obviously Sarah's style is quite different to Kaylee's style, and then obviously Phil does a little bit of paraplanning. I've not really seen how he does things as such, but you've got two or three people, haven't you, with different styles that
Yeah.
it'd be worth you sitting in on. And potentially when Phil's starting to see clients, it'd be worth you sitting in on some of his client meetings as he, over the next maybe in a year or so. Because
Hmm.
again, you've only really been out with me to see client. Everyone does it so different, so many
Is
different.
it?
Yeah, it's quite personality driven.
Hmm. Yeah, of course, because it's you speaking to the clients. It
I
has
mean,
to be.
even in paraplanning, you see personality driven paraplanning.
Oh.
Kayla's very analytical.
Hmm.
Sarah tends to be analytical, but she churns stuff over faster, so she gets through cases faster. Um, I don't know what Phil fits into. You'll speak to him and see how he does that. He's probably somewhere in the middle. What how do you see sort of technology evolving as you move into paraplanning? Can you see sort of scope for technology to do more of the lifting? Have you seen any evidence of it yet? I know we're sort of trialing bits, but I don't know how far along we are with trialing some of the AI bits. And
I've got no idea about paraplanning, but admin stuff, yeah, definitely. I think, drafting emails and maybe even drafting LOAs at some point, we could let AI take over the LOA situation
mm,
totally.
yeah, I mean
Maybe if
it's
someone's looking into a website development for the AI, related data filling and then just drafting up the LOA, sending them over. I think we can do that. It's possible. There's a lot of scope there.
what obviously say you went into paraplanning eventually over the course of the next year or two. What's in your head? What would then make you want to move towards just advising clients and being more face to face versus just thinking, I'm happy just being in paraplanning? What's the driver to get, say, into advising?
Um, I think first of all, I would love to see the clients face to face. Just again, put faces to the names of the cases that I've been working on. And I think for me personally, I would be more inclined towards talking to people and being out there helping them firsthand, being at the front of the line,
Mm,
and not so much into technical stuff. Because paraplanning is all about calculations, and I'm not bad at it. I am good with numbers, but it's just something that maybe would be a better fit for me to go face to face with the client.
yeah, I mean, you're quite sociable, aren't you? I mean,
Yeah,
I think if I've always found it hard to, possibly a bit like, when I was at school, if I'm cooped up and made to sit still, and I find it quite difficult to motivate myself to want to do it.
yeah,
I mean, I've been at my desk now for probably 2 to 3 weeks of obviously tax year end. So it's better for me to just do remote meetings and just shift admin basically. And it just makes you realize how tiring it is. I'm more tired when I'm doing administration tasks than if I did. 14, 15 hours a day talking, seeing clients, it almost invigorates me.
It's kind of boring, isn't it? Not everyone finds it interesting.
I
I don't.
find it
I'm
really
not.
hard.
Hmm.
Admin is really hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's because I do so much of the other, it's made me worse at admin or worse at sitting still. I don't think I've ever really been the best at it. I think I'm probably one of those people that always makes like an excuse to do something else.
Well, I'm doing admin right now, and it's not that bad for me. So I do see myself sitting down at my desk maybe whenever it's needed, maybe once a week, twice a week to get everything else sorted, and then also go to face-to-face meetings. That's something I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Do you, when you look at, say, the different roles, what do you think's the hardest role in our business to do? Just if that was almost like a quick answer thing, wait, what's the first one that comes into your head as you think, I think that's the hardest?
Advisor,
Why would that be?
because there is no one size fits all. You have to be quick on your feet with clients because it's not like the client asks you a question and you go, okay, let me come back to that. And then you just go do up your reading, come back and, kind of explain. You just have to be quick on your feet and make the person trust you, the person in front of you trust you for your opinion, for them to believe in you, for them to actually trust your advice, that you know what you're doing. And also because every client is different, isn't it? All the
It,
situations are different. It's
it's
kind of
very, very,
psychological.
very adaptable. And
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody messes too much with psychological, but we probably do a little bit because I like psychology and I like to understand how people tick.
Yeah. Me
And I think
too.
sometimes by doing that, it has benefits in terms of, well, it's understanding behaviors, isn't it? And
Yeah.
behaviors affect decision making, and decision making is notoriously bad when
Hmm.
emotions are involved. So I think if you can understand it and try and work with it a little bit, it hopefully leads to better outcomes.
Yeah. So that definitely is the difficult one because you're not stuck in one place. You're moving from place to place. You're seeing so many. For example, if you have 5 meetings in a day, just let's say, and there are 5 different people, and in 5 different with 5 different backgrounds, 5 different kind of financial plans or uh, belief systems, and you've got to work with all of them. You have to put yourself in their shoes and think for them to
You
make
see,
the decisions.
it's strange because I don't find it hard. I would say for me the hardest role would be paraplanner.
And I think it then comes down to interests and skill sets as well, isn't it?
I just even when I try and take sort of what I know I'm good and bad at out of the equation, I just think for the downside to me for and often as you know, I sometimes feel guilty about this, but like I think the advisor gets a lot of the credit and the back office get minimal credit for actually doing 80, 90% of the work.
Hmm.
And I often say to clients, look, I do 10, 20% of it. You just think I do more than I do because I'm here. And you
Hmm.
see the working late and things like that. So the perception's slightly wrong. But I think the reality is 80, 90% of the substance is done in the back office. It's a bit like you go to a gym and you see someone training weights, you think, oh, they're like really strong because they're lifting weights. Yeah, 80, 90% of it's diet, really, and
Hmm.
recovery, not what they do in the gym as such.
Yeah.
I think it's a very similar situation. I do feel guilty when I get the credit for everybody else's graft.
Well, that's how it is, though. That's how the system works, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of things like this. It gives clients and people an insight into actually, yeah, it gives staff a voice, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how many more admins have ever spoken on a podcast. I cannot imagine.
No, I mean, I don't think I've ever listened to one. So
Yeah,
it's
me
an
neither.
interesting take, isn't it?
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Sinchita, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Been lovely to hear your views and opinions, and I'm sure it's give everybody a really good insight.